I do want to talk about Leo men and Scorpio women and why we should never, ever, 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 ever date. Never, never, ever, ever, never, ever, ever. If you are a Leo man and you're like, ooh, that Scorpio woman. If you're a Scorpio woman and you're like, ooh, that Leo man, stop. Stop. Truly, oil and water. Truly, you guys. It's not meant to go together. You guys aren't going to go together, okay? Good, you guys. Welcome back to Yap Therapy. I missed you guys. I missed yapping, and I missed this therapy session that we have weekly. I'm sorry I was not here last week. I had some stuff going on with my Final Cut Pro, which was really annoying, but the world was not in the best place yesterday. I mean, when is the world ever in a good place, really, if we're being honest? But last week was just a lot. Yeah, I am obviously just trying to stay positive, and I know a lot of you guys come here to distract yourselves. I think a lot of people, when you watch people online, for the most part, you're watching things to make you feel better, right? Like you're watching things, I don't want to say to distract yourself, depending on what kind of content you're watching, but no matter what, you're watching shit to feel better about the world, and I just never ever want to come here and make this platform feel like I'm ignoring what's happening in the world, because that is not who I am as a person. I never ignore the dark, the bad, Scorpio stellium things, but also I want to find that balance of like still making this the type of content where you guys feel joyous, or somewhat happy, while watching this, while also still maintaining my authenticity and still talking about the things that I want to talk about. So I just briefly want to talk about the fact that obviously Iran has been in the news, and I'm from Iran. We immigrated here from Iran, and obviously the U.S., our president bombed Iran, and that was very sad to see. And I still have family there, and even just thinking about what's happening in my country and what we fled from, and the fact that it's still very much happening. The regime is still ran by a bunch of, bullshit people that are hungry and thirsty for power. It's so sad to see. And it's like you can't win. I come to America and the president is, a felon. And then I think about my home country and I'm like, wow, like really nothing's changed there either. And I want better for my people in Iran, and I want better for my people in America. So hopefully the world can get its shit together, because we deserve better. Everyone deserves better. Everyone, especially if you're a woman, if you're a person of color, if you're part of the LGBTQ community, any person that feels persecuted in any sort of way, I want you to feel safe no matter where you are. And I just think it's wild thinking about the people that have never been in any type of situation where they endured any sort of hardship. It's funny how they have a lot to say about these sort of things, and they have a lot of opinions about people and the way they live life, countries that they had to fled, without choice, right? So I just think it's crazy to me that people that have never walked those shoes have the loudest voices, and I need those people to disrespectfully shut the fuck up, actually. But yeah, besides that, I genuinely just want better for everyone. And even if you are someone that doesn't dabble into politics, I encourage you to do it now. You know what I mean? Now would be a good time to start, because it's only going to get more intense. And you using the excuse of, well, I'm not really into politics, that is the dumbest excuse I've ever heard, because politics is actually your life. You know what I mean? When you're thinking about politics as a concept, it's really the laws and regulations and what is really happening in our society that is making it either a better place for you to live or a worse place for you to live. So I just don't understand how you can be so ignorant. Again, it comes back to the fact that you've probably never had to go through any sort of hardship. You're probably privileged, so you've never had to think about these things. It's so nice that you don't have to think about politics, So honestly, I just feel like now more than ever, the excuse of I'm not really into politics is the dumbest excuse I've ever heard. And genuinely, if someone were to be around me and they said that, I would stop talking to you. I really would, because you're dumb and you're privileged and we have nothing in common, So why would I be around people that I really have nothing in common with, especially when it comes to human rights? If we cannot be on the same page when it comes to that sort of thing, then I have no business being around you, because you and I are always going to be at odds with one another, and I'm not going to shut up about what I believe in. And a lot of these people that are like, I'm not into politics, they just want to, live in ignorance, and they just want to talk about all the good and positive things. And that's just not the reality of the world. Again, it must be so nice that you don't have to worry about these things, but a lot of other people do. And again, it shows me that you don't have empathy. And I do not enjoy being around people that do not have basic empathy for their fellow humans. It's not something that I connect with. It's not something that I enjoy being around. Again, I'm a Scorpio stellium, so I am very, very emotional, and I am very much connected to people and their emotions and what it is that they're going through. So I've come to realize people that don't care, people that just think, oh, it's never that deep, we will never connect with each other. So really, yeah, I just stay away from people like that. But anyway, let's get into some Yap Therapy. I just had to give that quick, brief intro because I am not ignoring what's happening in the world. And I hope you're not either. And I hope that you are informing yourself, and you're protesting, or you're posting shit on your stories, or you're having hard conversations with your friends and family. I hope that you're doing something, right, to feel like you are a part of this revolution, because nothing feels better than feeling like you're a part of your community. Truly. It is what makes us feel the most fulfilled. If you really, really think about it, when we are connecting with the people around us, when we are working with the people in our community to make it better, I don't think anything feels better than that, because we are literally working actively to build a world that is better for me, that is better for you, that is better for our people. And nothing beats that. Truly, nothing beats that. Knowing that we're working together to make each other happier, every group in society happier, and to make everyone feel more at peace and safe to live in this world. I don't think there's any better feeling than that. And if you don't agree with me, again, you've probably never gone through anything where you've had to, be on the other side of things, where you've been through shit. So you feel like you want to take care of people that are going through similar shit. You know what I mean? Again, this is why so many people that are wealthy or privileged or whatever, because I don't think actually there's plenty of people that aren't wealthy and privileged and are still fucking dumb. You know what I mean? So those people, they just will never get it, and that's on them. And why do you think most of these people are weirdos? They're into weird shit. All these rich people, they get caught doing weird shit because they have a void. They have a void inside their heart, inside their soul, and they don't know how to fill it. So they fill it with weird shit. They fill it with weird shit because they're selfish. You know what I mean? And when you're selfish like that, and when you can't connect with people in your community like that, you don't think about, bettering the world. You don't have those authentic connections with the people around you, because a lot of wealthy people are like that. Everything's business to them. You know what I mean? Everything's power to them and greed. Of course, they're going to be miserable. Of course, they're going to look for joy and happiness in all the wrong places, right? So it's up to us, it's up to you. And I'm not saying all wealthy rich people are like that, but there's not that many of them, right? So it's up to everyone else to really get together, because there is more of us, to get together and make this world a better place to be, a better place to live for all of us, because we deserve that. I deserve that. You deserve that. So let's just do the damn thing. And the more we come together, the more they're going to be scared. These people in positions of power, they're going to be terrified because they know there's more of us. And that is exactly why they want to find every single way to divide us. Because when they divide us, we're fighting amongst ourselves instead of the real troublemakers, which is them, which is the 1%, right? So anyway, again, I yapped again. Let's get into Yap Therapy. Okay, so as you guys know, I have been watching Love Island. Oh my God. I just want to vent, really. This season of Love Island USA sucks. It sucks. It sucks for so many different reasons. But again, I talked about how last season of Love Island USA was so good. And because it was so good, I think the people that came onto this season, they felt like they had to self-produce. Not all of them, but most of them. And it just feels not as authentic, right? Like, it just feels like they know that they're being watched by more people and they want to come off a certain way, and they're not having these deep conversations, right? And I think that is the most compelling thing about reality television, is seeing people's real, authentic truth, right? Like hearing their stories, especially in a dating reality show in particular. I want to know why you are the way you are. I want you to have deep conversations about maybe your childhood, what you look for in terms of your future, and what you want out of a family, based off of what you went through when it comes to your family and your childhood, right? And your exes, just like so many deep conversations, they're not happening. And it's just not it. Which is why I'm back to my one true love, which is Love Island UK. And So if you didn't know, Love Island UK obviously is the main OG Love Island. There's like 12 seasons. Love Island USA is only on its 7th season, right? So what happened was last year, up until season 6 of USA, Love Island UK was that girl. Like, Love Island USA was like the side bitch, like, truly, of the Love Island franchise. Like, everyone, most of us that were OG Love Island watchers, we were always excited for UK, and like US was like there, and because it was there, like, you'll watch it, right? And then season 6 of US happened, and it was everything. It was iconic, authentic people, real drama, real relationships, real love, right? And it's funny because that same summer, the season of Love Island UK was kind of a flop for most of us. It was just you know what I mean? So it's just funny that that was the only time that that happened. And then now this year, it's kind of the same. It switched back to the original format, which is Love Island USA absolutely sucks. It's weird. I don't like it. The energy's off. There isn't as much friendship and loyalty and sisterhood, right? Like, it just feels like a bunch of like frenemies and just like, I don't know. It's not as good as I would want it to be. But Love Island UK is giving. So if you are watching Love Island USA and you're annoyed and you're like, what is this shit? Go watch UK. It's on Hulu. It's so good. This season is chef's kiss. So I've come to the realization that somehow in the world of Love Island, the Love Island gods, they've come to this point in time. They've come and created this rule, which is both Love Islands cannot be good at the same time. Like, there isn't enough good energy, entertaining energy, authentic energy for both franchises to have a good season. So I guess it just goes back and forth. I mean, Love Island UK is winning. It's been winning. Like I said, Love Island USA last season, I don't know what happened last summer. It was just everything. But now we're back to the original format, which is Love Island UK absolutely shitting on Love Island USA. And it's everything. So go check it out. Now, speaking of Love Island, one thing I want to talk about, we're just going to talk about the astrology of this situation. And this isn't the most recent episode, but I do want to talk about Leo men and Scorpio women and why we should never, ever, 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 ever date. Never, never, ever, ever, never, ever, ever. If you are a Leo man and you're like, ooh, that Scorpio woman. If you're a Scorpio woman and you're like, ooh, that Leo man, stop. Truly, oil and water. Truly, you guys, it's not meant to go together. You guys aren't going to go together, okay? And it's funny because obviously, traditionally, Leo and Scorpio are squaring each other, right? In astrology, when you're squaring a sign, when signs square each other, it's basically friction, right? It's not the most harmonious aspect. Obviously, it's the most challenging aspect. But I do want to say, if you have squares in your chart, if you have squares in synastry, it doesn't mean like, oh, stay away. It doesn't mean you're broken. Actually, it shows that when it comes to that area of your life, whatever the aspect is, it is what you're going to master. That friction is going to, provide you with an opportunity to get better, right? To work hard to be better at something, right? Harmonious aspects are kind of boring, right? Like, you sometimes want that friction. But anyway, with that being said, there was an episode where this Leo dude, oh my God, his name is Ace. And he picked this girl. Her name is Amaya, and she is a Scorpio. Oh my God, Amaya Papaya. She's so freaking cute. And as soon as he picked her in the recoupling, literally night of picking her to be in a couple with her, and he had a choice between this other girl, Shelly, that he was feeling, and then her. And he picks her, Amaya, the Scorpio. That very night, he pulls her and says, just to let you know, because in Love Island, you sleep next to the person that you couple up with. And when you couple up with someone, it means you're interested in them. He pulls her and he's like, just to let you know, I'm not affectionate. Just to let you know, you can't keep calling me babe. Like, he's like setting these rules night of recoupling. Like, which is fine, I guess, right? Like, you can definitely set your boundaries. But that very night, he goes and cuddles and gives a hug to the girl that he didn't pick. Tell me what kind of mind game bullshit is that? Like, truly, what are we playing at here? It's different if I see you moving the same with everyone else. But for you to pull me and tell me, hey, I'm not affectionate. Hey, I don't do those cuddles or hugs or whatever. And I see you go give another girl all the shit that you say you're uncomfortable doing. How am I supposed to take that? It's so distasteful. It's so disrespectful. And again, it's a mind game. And I think... Listen, I don't know the ins and outs of his mind, and I don't care to know. Actually, maybe I do care to know, because, like, what's wrong with you? But I do think it's messed up because I don't know what it is in dating. I think, obviously, when you are unwell, when you don't know yourself, when you are actually not ready for an authentic, real relationship, that is when you're playing these games, right? And obviously the Scorpio Maya, she was just like, she crashed out on him the next day because she was just like, what the hell is this, right? What the hell, right? Because she was like, what is going on here? Like, why did you even pick me, right? And that is the issue. If you didn't want her, don't pick her. Because there's nothing worse than feeling like you're bonding with somebody and feeling somebody, and then they make you feel crazy for being into them. But it's like, you are giving me every single sign and signal to make me feel like you're in this. And as soon as I give you something back, you pull away. That is that game of push and pull in dating that I hate. And it has everything to do with power dynamics, right? And I have been there. And listen, when you think about Scorpio and Leo, you think about power dynamics, right? These are two powerhouses, right? When it comes to astrology, these two signs, Leo and Scorpio, they both love power in their own ways. So because they square each other and these two energies typically don't get along, it's funny because when they date each other, they're fighting for that power. That, tension when it comes to power is going to definitely affect your relationship. I mean, I can even speak on it for myself. Like, we've all been there in relationships where, oh my God, in toxic relationships where the power is constantly shifting between you and the other person. And when you have the power, you feel good, you feel confident, you can go about your day. But then when they have the power, you're stressing, you're anxious, you're wondering when they're going to text you back. It's so freaking toxic. And I've been there, you guys. I have been there. Truly. Where you double text because you're crashing out, or triple text, and the power's in their hands, and you're just like anxious and stressed, and you're just like, God damn, you can't even do what you want to do with your day, right? We've all been there in those relationships where you truly feel like shit the whole time until you get the power back again, right? And it's always, like I said, a game of push and pull. And when you have the power, you just feel like on top of the world, right? And that is the thing with toxic relationships, is that you are constantly, it's like a roller coaster of like high, right? You're getting a high from the dopamine, right? When you guys are good, it's a high. And then when you're bad, it's a low. So of course, when it's a high again, you're going to feel like this is the best relationship ever. Wrong. It's not the best relationship ever. It's just what you've told yourself to feel like this is worth fighting for, right? Because when it's good, you just can't help but feel like this is the best thing ever. But what are you comparing it to? A really low, right? So I just feel like certain signs obviously are going to have a lot of trouble when it comes to power dynamics and relationships. And specifically, I feel like with Leo men and Scorpio women, it's just, to me, it's, oh my God, it's a mess. And listen, if you are in a relationship where you're a Scorpio woman with a Leo man, let me know, like, how do you guys make it work? And obviously, again, in astrology, your moon sign matters, your Mercury sign matters, your, Venus matters, Mars matters, all that matters. But in terms of the archetype of Leo and Scorpio, I just do not like those two signs together when it's a Scorpio woman and a Leo man. But again, there are other, harmonious aspects that can be happening in your synastry that can make it work. But ultimately, yeah, I feel like if you are still in a relationship like that, where you feel like it's always, a super high and a super low, and you're like, but it's worth fighting for because when it's good, it's good. I want to remind you that, of course, when you're going from this to this, that drastic change is going to make you feel like it's so good. But that's because you're comparing it to a super low. And that's why a lot of people, when they get into harmonious, healthy, calm relationships, they think it's boring, right? Well, you just came from doing crack. Like, of course, you being sober is boring. I'm just saying, I hate to make it that kind of example, but that's exactly what it is. Because when you are riding the highs and the lows and the emotional roller coaster of a toxic relationship or situationship, you are always going to be comparing any healthy relationship to that one, right? Because it was just so good when it was good. No, baby, no. You want the steady relationship. You want the one where you're feeling calm and your nervous system is at ease. And again, it comes back to whether you are healed enough to be able to sustain a healthy relationship after your toxic ones, right? Because I think a lot of people, at some point we find ourselves in situations and relationships where it finally feels healthy, and you can really, really self-sabotage because you've never experienced this before, this level of peace. You almost want to get the high of a toxic relationship again, right? Because don't even lie to me. How many times have you guys picked a fight or self-sabotaged when everything was good, right? Because your nervous system is almost like, well, is it good? Let's see how good it is, right? So you pick a fight to, get to that low, and then hopefully you can bounce back and get to that high. And if it's someone that is securely attached, their attachment style is secure, they're going to look at you and be like, why are you starting shit out of nowhere? Like, where did this issue even come from? Where did this problem even come from? And you're like, no, it's you. And you start feeling crazy because you're like, wait, am I picking fights? Like, am I crazy? And you're not going to do that at the beginning. At the beginning, you're going to want them to bite back, right? You're going to want them to fight back. And someone that is securely attached, they're going to look at you like crazy and going to be like, okay, you let me know when you're good again, because I am not going to entertain this. And depending on if you love them, depending on how much you want this relationship, you're going to take a look at yourself and be like, okay, no, like, I don't want to lose this person. I don't want to lose this person. And even though it's really hard for me, I'm going to self-reflect and figure out, why is it that I am picking fights with you when there is nothing wrong? And a lot of times it's because you're bringing the baggage from your last relationship into this new one, and you can't help but bring your old self into this relationship. And I think it's so important, so important to take, all of these lessons that you learned from any relationship, whether it's an ex-friend, whether it's a relationship. I hope you're never the same person after any relationship, right? Even if people are still in your life, I hope people are teaching you something about yourself. And, because we're talking about toxic relationships here. So when you are leaving these people, your exes, right, ex-friends or whatever, like, I hope you're coming out of that and self-reflecting. I think it's crazy to come out of a toxic relationship and think to yourself, I'm good. Like, it was them. And I'm not saying there isn't someone, sometimes the other person is, more to blame. But at the end of the day, it takes two to tango. And depending on how long you stayed, you are also part of the problem, in my opinion, right? So I think it's absolutely insane to come out of a relationship like that and not self-reflect and not think about where you went wrong, how you can be better, what kind of baggage you're still dealing with, right? Because if you stay the same person, from your ex to this new person, that's not fair. You should be a different person. You should be an elevated version of yourself, because you learned a lot from that past version, right? You learned a lot from that relationship. So now you can completely reevaluate who you are and what values you now have and who you don't want to be in your next relationship. So again, that is why people that are relationship hopping are running away from themselves and running away from their own ability to be better and to thrive and to level up, right? Because if you're jumping from one relationship to the other, relationship hopping, you're not giving yourself any time to process what you went through, what you learned, who you want to be in your next relationship, who you are alone, right? Because when you're with someone all the time, you're taking on a lot of their, energy, personality traits, whatever it may be. Now you go into your next relationship and you don't even know yourself. How do you know that who you are is you and not just who you became for that past relationship, right? So I think it's so important to take some time to figure your shit out and figure out, okay, like, this is my identity in this relationship. And now I'm not in this relationship. So what is my actual identity? What parts of me are me versus the parts of me that I, took on while being in that relationship? It's really, really important to take that time to figure that out, because if you don't, you may just, run it back and do the same thing you did in that past relationship in this new one. And I think that's such a disservice, because maybe the person that's in front of you now has the potential to be so good for you, but because you are actively ignoring, right? Healing yourself or figuring out where you went wrong, now you're just going to be on autopilot and, bring your toxic tendencies into this one. And maybe it truly sucks, because maybe before your ex, you weren't toxic. And maybe that version of you would have been great for this healthy person in front of you. But at the end of the day, you were in a relationship with a toxic person. And now, sadly, they have affected you, right? They have tormented you in ways where it's fucked up, obviously, but that's life, right? People are going to be bad people, people that are unhealed, toxic people are going to be a part of your life at some point in your life, right? That is just what it is. At some point, maybe you were the toxic person in the healthy person's life, right? And that's fine, right? Like that is just a part of our journey, but it's up to you to come back to that healed version of yourself, to come back to you. Because we all have, our soul and our essence, it wants us to be healthy. It wants us to be thriving, but the experiences that we go through in this lifetime, they're going to trigger us. They're going to challenge us. People are going to come into our lives to teach us things about ourselves, whether it's the fact that we have so much resilience, right? Whether it's the fact that we can get through anything. Like I said, when you get through heartbreak, when you get through toxic relationships and friendships, you just feel stronger. You do. I mean, thinking about just me and using myself as an example, when I think about, I could get emotional, but I'm not going to. Okay? Even though it's Cancer season, I'm not going to. I could get emotional, and I do get emotional when I think about Sarah and her past relationships or friendships, and I think about her and I get sad for her, right? I get sad for what I went through, how weak I felt or how insecure I felt, right? How sad I felt in friendships, ex-friendships. And I feel sorry for her, that version of myself, but then I can't help but feel so grateful to be who I am now and how strong I feel now and how I'm just myself and how I am unapologetically, my intense, passionate self. And Sarah before that, I felt like I had to hide, those attributes and those characteristics because I felt like maybe it was too much, right? But then it would come out anyway because you can't hide who you are. You can only hide who you are for so long. But if I hadn't gone through all of those things, I wouldn't be my authentic, confident self now, right? So I thank those versions of myself because what they went through, everything that they went through, although it was so painful, without that pain, I wouldn't be as confident as I am now. I wouldn't be so confident in who I am and what I deserve and what I want out of friendships and relationships if I didn't go through those things. So I'm so grateful for those past versions of me, and you should be too, right? It's so easy to look back into who you were, right? And judge yourself and be mean to yourself and cringe. I do. Sometimes I think about my past and I'm like, those cringe moments where you were doing the absolute most just comes to your head unprovoked and you're just like, I literally make a face. Like, I don't even know that I'm doing it, but I'm like, oh my God, right? But I am learning to be nice to myself and be like, listen, without her, I wouldn't be who I am. Without those people, I wouldn't be who I am, right? And I actually read the most beautiful thing on Instagram. I have to share it to you right now. I actually found this new page on Instagram. Their page is called Francesca Psychology. I'll post the post here, and it just blew my mind. So basically the post said, people think they're healing when they're actually just isolating themselves with no one to trigger them. This is called avoidant coping. Real healing happens through emotionally corrective relationships. Boom. Like that blew my mind. And if you're wondering, what does that mean exactly, right? So essentially what she's saying is that a lot of times, healing has become such a big buzzword and keyword. And I'm so happy that we're in this place in society where everyone wants to heal. Everyone's trying to be on their healing journey, spiritual journey. I love that. But I think a lot of people at the beginning stages or people that are refusing to actually see what healing really looks like, they think healing is just, being by yourself, right? Like you're protecting your peace by being by yourself. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you have been around so many toxic people for so long, I don't think there's anything wrong with you just being by yourself and finally, releasing all these toxic people in your life. So now you're at a stage in your life where you are more alone. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Actually, I think that is a part of the healing journey. You're going to have a moment like that where you are isolating, especially if you just went through a friendship breakup with a toxic friend group, or you just finally ended that relationship, and you don't want to date. So now you're alone and you're like, yeah, now I'm healing. You know what I mean? And it may be one step in the healing process, right? But it's not the essence of healing, right? So this is exactly what she's saying, is that sometimes when we think that we're isolating ourselves and that when we're, not around people, that we're healing. But when you're not around people, of course, you're not going to be triggered, right? Because you're not around anyone, right? Like it's very, very hard to get triggered if you're alone, right? I mean, you could still get triggered, you know, some memories can pop up, you can be watching something, but for the most part, when you're isolating and you're not giving yourself a chance to be a part of any sort of community, whether it's friendships, relationships, whatever, whether you're going to work, you're not talking to anyone, of course, you're going to think you're healing and that you're doing great. Well, that's because you're not giving yourself a chance to even connect with anyone, right? So essentially what she's saying is that that's not healing. You're just kind of removing yourself from the situation. And when she says, you know, it's called avoidant coping is because, you know, you're being avoidant. You're not really tapping into what's wrong. It's hard to see what's wrong when you are not putting yourself in a situation, in a relationship, you know, to be around people that would trigger you and show you what's wrong with you, right? Because that is essentially what relationships are, right? No matter what, when you are around people, they're mirrors to you, just like you are a mirror to other people, right? Like that's what happens when you are around people. And obviously, the more intense and the more deep this relationship and friendship is, the more you're going to have intense, deep conversations, right? So that gives more of an opportunity for your real self to come out and for their real self to come out, which in return makes it maybe a more triggering experience, right? Because the more you open up, the more, you know, you give yourself a chance to be triggered and vice versa, right? And I think that's exactly what she means is real healing, she says, happens through emotionally corrective relationships. And to me, that makes perfect sense because if you are in a place where you are trusting yourself and the other person to open up, then you are giving yourself an opportunity to be triggered again. Because no matter what, people are going to trigger you. Obviously, depending on where you are in your healing journey, people may trigger you all the time. Some people may not. Different people will trigger you more than other people. But no matter what, when you're in a relationship with someone, let's do even just a romantic relationship, you're going to trigger each other, right? Because they know the real you, or they're trying to know the real you, right? The more involved you get with each other, the more they start seeing what sets you off, you with them, and then you learn about their past. Like you just can't help but see each other on a whole different level, which gives you and them the opportunity to trigger each other. But that's why it's so important to be with people that care to be better for you and to be better for themselves. Same with you. That's why it's so important to be around people that motivate you to want to be better. And that doesn't mean that they don't trigger you, right? It's just that you love them so much and you love, you know, you want to sustain this relationship so much that you're willing to, you know, open up even if you get triggered. But then because you care about them so much and because there's so much mutual respect, you can work through these triggers together, right? Whereas if you're with someone who triggers you and you guys just constantly trigger each other, but there is literally no sort of conflict resolution, and because you literally make each other feel so unsafe in this relationship, of course you're just going to trigger each other and then there's no moving forward. It's just a toxic cycle of triggering each other. Whereas if it's a healthy relationship or you guys are progressing towards a healthier relationship, you're going to trigger each other. But again, because that mutual respect is there and because you care about each other so much, you can work through these triggers, right? You can really be aware of the fact that, oh my gosh, like, I know you're not doing this on purpose, but this is triggering me. This is reminding me of, let's say, when my mom would ignore me when she was upset with me, right? So then you could bring this up to your partner and be like, yeah, like this reminds me of when my mom did that. But because you feel safe enough to do that, right? And because maybe you're in a space where you're aware of that, because sometimes you're young and you don't even know why you're being triggered. You don't even know what a trigger is. You're just going based off of emotions, right? You're just saying what you want and then hoping it just works out the next day, even though you cussed each other out. You know what I mean? So I think it's so important to have that mutual respect and to have the type of relationship and friendship where you genuinely assume that when they're triggering you, it's not on purpose, right? Because if you already have this idea in your head that they're doing it on purpose, you're almost assuming that their intention is bad. This is not your person, or you're just not ready to be in the relationship, right? Because you always have to be under the assumption that this person cares for you and their intentions are always good. So if they're triggering you, you have to trust yourself and them and your relationship enough to have a conversation about why it's happening, right? Whereas if there is no mutual respect or love there, or you know what I mean? Like you're always going to assume the bad. You're going to assume that they're triggering you on purpose. And some people do, and those are not good people to be around. But you isolating yourself from people, whether it's friendships on relationships and you're thinking you're healing, well, guess what? As soon as you stop isolating yourself, you're going to get triggered again, right? You're not going to be healing because what you were doing is you were just removing yourself from the ability to connect with other people. So now you're under this false notion of, well, I'm healed. Well, no, you haven't put yourself in a situation where someone can trigger you again, right? That is when you are able to heal, is when you are around people that you trust and that you believe in and that they believe in you. So when you do get triggered, you give each other the opportunity to work through it together, right? Okay, so let's do a fun Zodiac list to wrap up this episode. I know you guys deserve it. I know you guys love these little Zodiac lists. So one of you guys actually sent this one to me. And if this is my first time saying it, I need you guys to, I don't need you to, but if you want to, you can send me Zodiac lists on Instagram, DM them to me. And I'll react to them, right? If it's something that I like, I'll react to it because it's happened before, just like this list where you guys have sent me lists that you want me to react to. And I sometimes make your wishes come true, right? So if you see a list online where you're like, no, I want Sarah to react to this like right now, DM it to me and I would love to talk about it. Truly, truly, truly. Don't forget my Instagram handle is CharmedanDangerous at Instagram. So just look at the info box and you'll see it. All right, this list is called Is Your Sign a Toughie or a Softie? All right, the first category is Acts Like a Toughie is a Toughie. Aries, Capricorn, Virgo. Yeah. I mean, I so see it. I so see it. I feel like Aries, Capricorn, and Virgo, like, they are no nonsense type of people, right? They are no nonsense type of people. Like, they are going to show up and say what it is that they want, right? And they're going to get the job done. And they genuinely feel like it's no one's business, right? If they're going through something, they're like, it's not your business, right? And I am tough and I'm going to get through it because that's what I've had to do my whole life, right? When I think of these three signs, I think of hustlers. I think of people that are going after what they want and they don't let other people affect their ability to get shit done. Like, that's what I think of when I think of Aries, Capricorn, and Virgo. People that don't make excuses. They do not make excuses. So when you're a toughie and you acting like a toughie and you a toughie on the inside, of course, you're not going to allow any external factor to affect your ability to do what you want and to get what you want out of life, right? Okay, next category we have is Acts Like a Toughie is a Softie. Leo, Gemini, Scorpio. That's funny. Yeah. It's funny. I have all these signs in my chart. I am a Scorpio sun, Gemini moon, Leo Mars. Who says I'm a softie? Thank God for my Capricorn rising. Jesus. I will not make any comments about this softie allegation. No, I mean, listen. Yes, Leo, Gemini, Scorpio. We love to act tough, and we are tough. We are tough, okay? But we be in our heads. Like, really, really think about it. When you think of Leo, Gemini, and Scorpio, obviously, we come on strong, and we know who we are, and we say it with our chest, and we have no regrets. Like, right? Like, when we are saying something, when we believe in something, we truly back ourselves up. That's what I think of when I think of Leo, Gemini, and Scorpio. But all three of us, all three of these signs, you get in your head afterwards. Leo is constantly thinking about, well, how will I be perceived, right? Like, they're thinking about their reputation. They want to make sure that they're still someone that is respected, right? And valued, right? Leo is constantly thinking about that. So on the inside, of course, like, Leos have a lot of insecurities, but again, it's not for everyone to see. But on the inside, they just want to be adored. They just want to be loved. And when you think of Gemini, Gemini, of course, is known to be this person that stands on business when it comes to their ideas and what they believe in, and they don't care that they're changing their mind all the time. But on the inside, you think about Gemini energy, it's constantly thinking about why it's doing what it's doing and constantly shifting its mindset when it comes to certain things. So of course, on the inside, Gemini is always reevaluating why they're doing what they're doing. And again, because Gemini is Gemini and they're mutable air, I think it's easy for Gemini to distract themselves, right? So they come off very tough, and they are tough. But again, on the inside, Gemini can't help but judge themselves, right? Gemini can be very judgy towards themselves. And when it comes to their feelings and rationalizing those feelings, of course, that makes you a softie on the inside, right? Because you're trying to figure out why you are the way that you are, but then you distract yourself with something else before you figure out what it is that is bothering you. And with Scorpio, obviously, yeah, it's been known that, like, Scorpios, we are very tough, and we're resilient. We're so fucking resilient. But people forget how sensitive we are. Truly, again, like I said, these allegations, these softy allegations, I don't know how I feel about them. It's not for everyone to know. Actually, me and my best friends always talk about this, how, like, I am truly, like, a little angel baby. They say it, And I agree on the inside, but, like, everyone, like, thinks that I am, like, this, I don't want to say a bitch, but sure. I'll be the villain in your story. I'll be a bitch. Like, if you deserve it, I have no problem being the bitch in your story. But, as much as I can come off like, aggressive and passionate and this and that, on the inside, I'm so sensitive. But I've come to realize that that is not a weakness. Like, that is, again, like I talked about at the beginning of this episode, that's where my empathy comes from. That's where my ability to really connect with people and want to heal them comes from, is from the fact that I've experienced such pain when I was just a mushy, softy kid. When you're a child, that's who you essentially are. And I was always a very sensitive little girl. So then when I started noticing how this world is, how people are, how fucked up it can be, it started to harden me, right? And then I went through breakups and friendship and all that bullshit, right? It made me even more, the exterior even more hard. And now I'm kind of going back to figuring out that balance, because I am soft on the inside and I do want to, still nurture that part of me. And I do, but I just think this world takes advantage of people that are soft and sweet and kind. So I think if you are also like me, where that's who you are, you don't have to pick between the two. Like, you can definitely just set boundaries and pick and choose who you allow to see that soft part of you. Okay, so the next category is acts like a softie, is a toughie. Sagittarius, Aquarius, Libra. Yeah. I don't know. Does Aquarius act like a softie? I feel like Aquarius acts like a toughie and is a toughie. No? But when you think about Sagittarius and Libra, it's funny because people think Libra is, like, very, very sensitive, and they are very sensitive. Like, they care a lot about other people's opinions because they're ruled by the 7th house of relationships. Libra wants people to perceive them, like Leo, as someone that's lovable and likable and someone that they want to be around, right? But you forget just how tough Libra is. And same with Sagittarius, right? Like, Sagittarius is very much like happy-go-lucky, like excited about life, like is laughing, but on the inside, again, they're that truth seeker. So they understand, like Scorpio, the pain that this world has, like the essence of this world, the truth behind this world. And regardless of all of that, Sagittarius still acts like a softie and excitable and is just a little kid, right? Because they realize that's where the joy lies. Like, even though, they're ruled by this 9th house of higher education and, they can be very philosophical in that sense, Sagittarius, because they know the truth about life and people, that is why they're a softie, because that's where Sagittarius feels like is the true joy of life, right? Being able to not take shit so seriously and be a softie, right? And like I said, with Libra, like, they can actually be so tough, because Libra is very hypercritical of themselves, right? Like, when they're not balanced, when there's anything wrong in their life internally where they feel like it's, unbalanced, they can be so hard on themselves. When you are constantly striving for that perfect balance in every aspect of your life, you don't think that makes you tough? These are some of the toughest people because everything that you've said to Libra, they've thought about themselves times 100. So, even though Libra is Venus ruled and it's like, oh, sweet Libra, la, 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 like, on the inside, Libra, like Virgo, is tearing themselves apart because they want to understand how to be better, how to be more likable, right? And that makes you a very tough individual on the inside. All right, last category is acts like a softie, is a softie. Taurus, Pisces, Cancer. Yeah. Yeah, that's actually so sweet. I mean, obviously, Cancer and Pisces are going to be there. They act like softies and they are softies. They are. They're softies. Pisces and Cancer, like, I just think of like the Care Bears, right? Like, that to me gives Pisces Cancer energy. And then meanwhile, Scorpio, is there like a moody Care Bear, right? I keep saying Care Bear. It reminds me of Stare Bears. Like, that's actually my nickname. If you guys didn't know, my friends call me Stare Bears. Um, is there like a moody Care Bear? Because Scorpio would be that one. But yeah, when I think of like Pisces and Cancer, I think of the Care Bears. Like, I think of people that are genuinely just there to make people feel better, and they are soft and sweet. But Cancer, I do gotta say, you are a softie, and a softie on the inside, act like a softie on the outside. But Cancer is also a demon on the inside when they're triggered. Cancer can truly fuck some shit up if they feel like it, like Scorpio. I am saying that with zero regrets. Like Scorpio and like Aries. Like, Cancer gets the honorary acts like a toughie, because if you mess with the people that they love or their sense of safety, you will see a different side of Cancer, right? And Pisces, obviously, like, to me, Pisces can do no wrong. And I get it. There are toxic Pisceans out there. I see online, I see what people say about the toxic Pisces men and the crazy woman. Like, I don't ever care when people call women crazy, because what did you do to make her crazy? I'm waiting. But yeah, Taurus though, yes, Taurus, I think Taurus should be in the category of like acts like a toughie is a softie, right? Because to me, Taurus is almost like, Taurus doesn't have a hard shell on the outside, but really on the inside, like, they just want peace. They just want comfort. They want a routine that doesn't destabilize them. That's ultimately all Taurus is looking for. If they have all of those needs met, they don't care about anything else. So when people trigger them, or when people try to ruin this sense of peace that they've created, that's when you get that toughie that's like, what are you doing? Why are you ruining everything that I've created to make this a safe space for me, a safe planet for me, right? Because you leave Taurus alone, they're going to leave you alone. Truly. Unless you're like with them and you're not following their rules, then you get a different side of Taurus. Because it's like, I am letting you be in my environment, whether it's a family member, a partner, a friend, or whatever. And then they're going to be like, why are you trying to change things? No, you are going to change the way you are to fit this lifestyle. That's what Taurus says. And I have to go back to Aquarius because I feel like I didn't give you guys enough love. Yeah. I feel like Aquarius is also one that is, no, where would Aquarius be? Honestly, I feel like Aquarius acts like a toughie is a toughie. No? Like, Aquarius truly has a hard shell, but on the inside, they are also very, very tough, right? Like, mentally strong, because Aquarius takes their time processing things. So because of that, I feel like they're not very sensitive, because they have done everything they need to do to understand, what it is that they're going through, or you, or whatever. So it's really hard for Aquarius to be shocked, right? And I feel like when you're a softie, you are easily shocked by the way people come at you or whatever, right? And I feel like Aquarius understands people, and because they take time to process emotions, it's really hard for you to, again, destabilize them and make them feel funny or make their soft side come out. Not that Aquarius doesn't have a soft side. It just takes a special kind of person and patience for that side to come out. So I feel like genuinely Aquariuses act like toughies, and they are toughies. All right, you guys, that is the end of this episode. Let me know which segment you enjoyed the most. Let me know if this list hit for you. Are you a softie? Do you act like a softie, or are you a toughie? Let me know if it hit more for your sun sign or your moon sign, because I would be interested. For me, yeah, it hit. I am a toughie, but really I'm a softie. I can be tough when I need to, and I can be soft when I want to, right? All right. I love you guys so much. I hope you're having a wonderful week. It's Cancer season. Indulge in the comforts of life. Jupiter is in Cancer. Really be kind to yourself. Reach out to your people. Make your home an even cozier place to be. Enjoy being home, right? Like I said, eat all of your comfort foods, watch all of your comfort shows, and just enjoy your own environment, your own cozy environment. I love you guys so much. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week.